What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newsway. So last week we had a couple of new systems go up for pre-order, that with the Switch OLED and that Valve Steam Deck. Well, something weird happened with the Switch OLED. It appears to have already seen its first price cut. At least that's what was happening to a lot of people's pre-orders and even the listings up on the website. We're going to talk about that here today and what exactly happened here. Also, we are going to be talking about that Valve Steam Deck as scalpers went crazy with this system, marking it up thousands of dollars, at least until those listings started getting ripped down. Turns out it might be a little harder to resell the Steam Deck than people were originally thinking. And we're also going to be talking about the NPD results for June, as a big PlayStation 5 title did top the charts. Guys, if you enjoyed these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below and ring that notification bell so you can keep up to date with all the uploads here on the channel. And we're going to start today with Skate 4. It was announced last year and it was really exciting. And it turns out the reason they're even doing this new Skate game is because fans wanted it so badly. They themselves said, hey, you pretty much willed this thing into existence. But when they announced it, we all pretty much figured, okay, they haven't even really started developing the game yet. Maybe some core ideas, but like actual development is still getting underway. And it's no surprise to hear that it won't be at EA Play Live that will be happening this Thursday. We can head over here to Twitter. This was posted up by the Skate Twitter account where they say, what have we been up to? Well, we formed a studio back in January, got a bunch of super talented people to join the family, and we've been working hard on the new game. Now, we know many of you are hoping to see more from us this week, but we're not ready for prime time just yet, and we won't be part of the EA Play Live show on Thursday. It's still early, and we are committed to doing this thing right, which means it's going to take some time. Our number one goal is not to blow it for you, for us, for Skate. However, we are stoked to share a little something with you all tomorrow. And I know people are hoping, oh, maybe they'll have gameplay or a screenshot. I mean, if they are seriously half a year in with this studio that they formed, I don't even know if we'll see that. We could hear about maybe some skaters that will be a part of this new Skate game. That's possible. Maybe some behind-the-scenes stuff with developers and kind of what their thoughts are going forward with this new Skate game that's in development. But I wouldn't expect them to all of a sudden show up and say, oh, we'll show you Skate 4 here. I think it's going to be something a bit smaller, but keep an eye out today. Also, it looks like we have a new Ubisoft game that's going to be unveiled later today. And there was so much hope online, and just waiting for Ubisoft to just crush it completely later on today. Let's head over here to Twitter. This was posted up saying, tomorrow things are going to get wild. Tune in at 11 a.m. Pacific time for the worldwide reveal of a brand new game in the Tom Clancy's universe. And what do you think everyone was hoping for? It was Splinter Cell. That started to trend on Twitter, and Twitter even explained it as fans are hoping a new Splinter Cell is going to get announced after Ubisoft teased something that's getting revealed here today. But then IGN posted up what appears to be clips from this new game, and it looks like, I don't know, a PvP hero first-person shooter style game. There were talks that it'd be a crossover between a bunch of different intellectual properties from Ubisoft. So, hey, maybe Sam Fisher finds his way in there. Maybe it'll be on cell phones. There we go. Sam Fisher can be a part of it. But I guess look out later today for some sort of game being unveiled from Ubisoft that will undoubtedly be some sort of live service game. Oh, and we do know the Steam Deck will have several different models ranging from 64 gigabytes up to 512 gigabytes. And mostly the difference is the storage size and the overall speed. But it does look like that 64 gigabyte model will have an M.2 slot inside. We can head over here. This was a VGC saying Valve has confirmed that all Steam Deck models include slots to upgrade the device's SSD drive, including the cheapest $399 model, which does not include SSD storage. However, the developer notes that the SSD drives are not intended for end user replacement, so it's not yet clear if users will be able to successfully replace them. It's basically going to come down to how much does this device have to come apart to get to that M.2 slot. Like if we take the back off, are we looking at it, or is it one of those weird builds where it's on the other side of the board and like the screen has to come out for no reason at all, which those kind of systems exist. So I'm hoping that Valve at least was somewhat mindful when they put it together to position it in a spot where we can open it up and replace it. But again, gonna come down to the teardowns, and you better believe when I get my Steam Deck, we're tearing that thing down to see how Valve exactly put it together. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get in the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with this Nintendo Switch OLED model situation when it comes to a price cut. It was very weird to see this one because no one really knows why, I guess, this happened. We have some ideas, but for the most part, Walmart appears to have cut the price of the Switch OLED by $50. In fact, if you had a pre-order in specifically on the Neon Joy-Con model with like the neon red and blue Joy-Con controllers, you got an email that said, hey, we went ahead and marked this down due to competitive pricing. And immediately I thought of that Metroid Dread situation where I had my special edition through Walmart and I got an email that said, oh, we marked this thing down like $35 or something for no apparent reason. It just said competitive price matching. And I still don't really know why that is. I have concerns that it's going to be the regular edition that shows up, but like, what are they going to mail out here with this OLED Switch? The regular Switch? I don't know if that's going to go over well with people who place the order. And to go a little further here, it does appear, because people started messaging me about this, that they were able to price match this at places like Target or even Best Buy. I have not tried that myself because I just pre-ordered it through GameStop in store so I can pick it up early on and we can do some video for this system. But I think it's worth a try if you've already pre-ordered this device online. I guess message them, because if you take a look at Walmart's page right now, they are currently listing it at $299 with it marked down from $349. Now, it does say that it is out of stock, and this discount is not provided for the white Joy-Con model. I'm thinking that this has to do with some sort of confusion in their system when it comes to comparing this to the regular Switch. And it's like, oh, wait, this is off. We have to fix it because there's competitive pricing with ourselves, or maybe it's picking it up with other retailers like a Target, like a GameStop, or a Best Buy, and they're just price matching it like automatically. So I don't know if Walmart is going to then reverse this, but they haven't reversed my Metroid Dread pre-order yet. So maybe this just remains automated all the way through and they ship this out and people get the Switch OLED model for $50 less than they were anticipating. And the other thing with this is the Switch OLED stayed up for pre-order for a while. Like, I thought this thing would have sold out immediately at places like this Walmart, but it stayed up for pre-order for the next 2 days until it finally went back out of stock. So I'm kind of thinking this might go back in stock at the $299 price at some point as we get closer to launch. So bookmark and keep an eye on this page, and certainly keep an eye on Wario64, because if he tweets out that they're back in stock at Walmart, I mean, go save $50 on something like this, I guess. Oh, and I guess while we're at it, a quick reminder, if you didn't know, Walmart in-store seems to sell like their new games for 15 to 20% less. An example is Skyward Sword HD came out on Friday. It was like $50 in the store, and I've been doing that for a lot of games, even like those $70 PS5 titles that come out. Usually you go into Walmart and you'll see them at like either low 60s or like $59. It varies a little bit, I don't know, depending on the SKU or something. It's strange, but yes, they will mark it down pretty well. So it's basically just like an extra discount for going in and I guess picking up the game along with some groceries. Next up, let's talk about that Valve Steam Deck and how reservations went, because as I was trying to get my order in, I noticed a lot of other people were having problems, and Steam even just like crashed at one point. Like that's some pretty serious stuff when it comes to traffic. However, we all know how this game is played at this time after going through the whole PS5, Series X, and yes, even Switch launches online, where bots are just taking over and just flooding these sites with traffic, and Steam does not appear to be immune to this either. But it looks like they took quite a few reservations, especially for a device in the portable PC landscape, where, I mean, it's not exactly a place that is selling tons and tons of units at all times. Let's actually take a look here. This was on Twitter from Pavel, Steam DB. Says, seems like they fixed it. Canada was the same number as US, so it's North America total. But we can see the last numbers that they had seen here, July 16th. Say with North America, 512 gigabyte at 55,000 pre-orders there. North America for the 256 gigabyte at 28,000. Then we can see Europe at 9,600 for the 512 gigabyte, and then the 256 gigabyte at 5,000. And then in the UK, 512 gigabyte at 7,000. So it looks like, I guess, as of July 16th, Valve had taken about 100,000 reservations on the Steam Deck. And that's not like massive numbers if you compare it to consoles like, you know, like the PS5 or even the Xbox or Switch. But I think for a portable device like this that certainly leans more into the PC side and people are already looking as more of a niche product overall, that's pretty good. And the thing that's really striking is the most expensive model, that being the 512 gigabyte model, is selling double what like the 256 gigabyte model is selling. Now, I didn't see anything with 64 gigabyte models, which, I mean, that's the lowest price point for entry, so those tend to be pretty good in terms of sales compared to the others, just because, again, it's the cheapest model. But I think a lot of people do at least see the investment here when it comes to the PC side of things, considering even the 512 gigabyte model is considered cheap in the land of thousands and thousands of dollars worth of video card purchases. But I think most of us are aware that scalpers, resellers, bots are going crazy with this device. I went over it myself on Saturday, so check that out, where I was kind of browsing through eBay and looking at some of the different listings of $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, even $5,000 on some of these Steam Decks. And it was really weird to me because these are pre-orders that we don't know when they're actually going to be delivered. If you look on Valve's site now for Steam, where they have the Steam Deck, I mean, some of these are listed as Q2 2022 for when they'll be filled, and that 512 gigabyte model as of this recording is listed as Q3 2022. So they're not giving us exact dates, just basically quarters as to when it'll finally be filled, but they're still being listed on eBay. However, it appears that Kotaku did reach out to eBay and they got a response back. eBay told Kotaku via email that these listings will be removed as they violate the website's pre-sale policy. This policy states that all pre-sale items must ship within 30 days, which is not the case with Valve's Steam Deck. It won't start shipping until December 2021 at the earliest. And this obviously makes sense based on their pre-sale policy, where you have to be able to ship the item out in 30 days, because there are a lot of things that could go wrong with this Steam Deck, especially as we're hearing about chip shortages and all these different things. We could be a year away from current 512 gigabyte orders actually being filled. So if you buy one right now on eBay that someone just put the reservation in for, thinking, oh wow, I'm getting this $1,000 above asking, but I'm gonna get it in December, and then you wait that long, that could be something that could become very messy for eBay just overall. So I understand why they even wanna go, nope, we're not dealing with that. You have to have the item ready to ship in 30 days. So most likely what you'll see is this kind of stuff pop back up starting next year when these Steam Decks get into people's hands. And when you look at the website and it's like, oh yeah, Q2 2025 is when the next batch of 512 gigabyte models will go out. But I'll admit I have no problem seeing scalpers have their listings ripped down. Makes them maybe think twice about putting that reservation in on a system that they weren't really going to play in the first place. Next up, let's talk about the NPD sales results for the month of June. These are all sales in the US month to month when it comes to video games, and we usually get an idea as to which system sold the most in terms of units, and at times it's even split depending on if one system did better in terms of revenue, because remember, we have $500 systems and we also have $300 systems with the Switch. Well, it turns out we do have a bit of a split here, and it might be a little surprising on one side of this. Let's take a look this over on Twitter from Matt Piscatella, saying the US NPD hardware Xbox Series was the best-selling hardware platform in dollar sales for the month of June, while Nintendo Switch led in unit sales. Now, if we go for the first half of 2021 so far, says Nintendo Switch was the best-selling hardware platform during 2021's first half in both dollar and unit sales. Now, the Switch isn't too surprising. I think most of us just accept at this time that the Switch is probably going to sell the most systems, especially when it comes to the supply constraints that we continue to see with the PS5 and yeah, even the Series systems. Although I am starting to see more and more Xbox Series systems go into stock, and I've even seen the Series S in a couple of Walmarts and even Best Buys at times. So they at least appear to be getting those into stores a bit more frequently here. But the PS5 certainly has had some issues when it comes to just finding systems to buy. So seeing the Series, though, up there in terms of revenue, kind of splitting with the Switch is interesting. It does make people wonder, I guess now, seeing online, if that E3 that was shown by Microsoft that was pretty strong had an effect on their sales for the Xbox, showing people reasons to buy into Game Pass, and in turn, if you want the console, buy into the Xbox Series S or the Series X. As for the software, we'll go over the top 10 here. This is the list of the top 20 video games for June 2021, starting with Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart at number 1. Then we have Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War at number 2. Mario Golf Super Rush, the little star there means that it does not include digital sales. And then we have MLB The Show 21, and that that does not include digital sales from the Xbox storefront. Then we have Scarlet Nexus at number 5. Good to see Scarlet Nexus at least in the top 5 here. Resident Evil Village fell from number 1 down to number 6. Mario Kart 8, once again, those are just the physical sales, no digital included there. Then we have Minecraft, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Mortal Kombat 11 rounds out the top 10. So a couple of things here. Generally, the way I understand the NPD is kind of sorted is it's done by revenue. So it makes sense why we'd see something like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart at the top there as a $70 game. But either way, it sold very well and it's a $70 game. Remember, there was a lot of concern, even pushback around that pricing, but we are seeing it top the charts here, and that could have to do with the game itself being a big PS5 exclusive that's been hyped up pretty much since we saw the system for the first time. And Insomniac, of course, has been making some very, very good games, and a lot of people were looking forward to a big PS5 exclusive to get their hands on with the system. And we had heard that there were some pretty substantial restocks dating back to like March and then through April and May. So maybe we were seeing more PS5s get out there and building up to the Ratchet and Clank release. But either way, good stuff there. Good to see Insomniac's latest game doing well in the NPDs for the US. And then at number 3 was Mario Golf. That's all physical, and that's good to see as well, because the Mario sports games, they sell okay, but they're not like massive chart toppers or anything. And again, these are just the physical sales, no digital included here. But I also want to give a shout out to Scarlet Nexus. I was a little concerned about this game not even making it into the top 10 when it comes to NPD sales, especially seeing it really fall off badly in Japan. But at least for June, it appears to be doing okay there in the top 5. Overall, pretty good month for gaming. Seeing the series systems at least be in the conversation for the NPD is great, as it was for revenue. And then of course the Switch continues to roll along here with units sold. And then Ratchet and Clank for the PS5 topping the sales charts overall. So really looking at it, all 3 companies had something to talk about here. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about 2 Ubisoft games that were originally planned to be releasing in September that are going to now be delayed. One is only being delayed a month. The other one is falling into 2022. We'll start with Riders Republic. That one is being delayed until October 28th. So about a month delay there for Riders Republic, not too bad. And then Rainbow Six Extraction is being pushed into January 2022. So like 4 months there for that one. This, according to Ubisoft in a statement, saying the goal with the decision to delay both of these games is to give more opportunities for players to test, play firsthand, and give feedback to ensure we are bringing the best experiences to market and allow them to reach their full potential. We believe the new release schedules will allow us to achieve that goal. This is the right decision for our players and for the long-term performance of our games. Now, we've seen several delays that most likely was caused by COVID and different issues when it comes to remote work and just development slowing down almost to like a crawl at times. And most likely what we're seeing with Riders Republic or even Rainbow Six Extraction is that things were found in QA, or just more polish has to be done as they get closer to the finish line. They said, hey, rather than release a broken game, we'll push it back, in case of Riders Republic, a month or so, and then Rainbow Six 4 months. And what they'll be doing, I guess, for Riders Republic is running more of these closed betas and getting feedback there. Probably the same kind of thing here for Rainbow Six Extraction. It's just Ubisoft wanting to launch these in a better state than what they probably would have come out like, just with more bugs and issues at launch. So I guess we'll look towards Riders Republic in October, that being on the 28th, and then Rainbow Six Extraction now in January. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're taking the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I asked, if you picked up Skyward Sword HD, which control style are you using the most? 72% said button controls, 28% said motion controls. I'm sticking with the button controls. I tried the motion controls briefly, but you have to keep resetting the gyro at times. And I was like, I'll just go to the button controls. And even that, it's like, you could tell they were just trying to make the best out of the overall situation and the control scheme they were given by attaching it to the right stick, and then you have to hold L down to move the camera. Feels awkward. It appears to be something that's not going to become natural over time, as even I still kind of mess up with just taking the sword out randomly when I'm trying to move the camera. Either way, though, it's a game that's, I think, going to grow on people here as it's on the Switch. A lot of people who did not try it on the Wii are talking about it online like, hey, this is a pretty fun Zelda game. It looks a lot better, runs a lot better, and for the most part, I'm having a pretty good time with it. I think yeah, I'm having a better time with it now than I was on the Wii, and a lot of that was just because I was locked into those motion controls. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Doctor saying, imagine getting Switch emulation going on this with better performance than the Switch. That's gonna be a big question here because Yuzu, some of these Switch emulators, they still need very capable hardware. And while what's in the Steam Deck is pretty cool for being, its form factor in the handheld PC space, I do still wonder if it's going to be able to emulate Switch games well enough for people to actually sit down and play it there. Like, it's one thing to be like, it works. It's another thing to say, well, it works at 60 frames per second or 30 even for some of these, Switch titles. But if that works out, maybe Yuzu even shows up and says, hey, we'll optimize a bit more for this chip that AMD and Valve collaborated on and created, then it's gonna get pretty interesting because Nintendo technically can't do anything about an open source emulator like Yuzu, and if you bought the game legit and you're like, I wanna play it through this emulator, I mean, there's just not much Nintendo's gonna be able to do about it, so it's gonna be a very odd situation if that actually pans out. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. There's the Steam Deck Scalpers getting their listings ripped down on eBay. What'd you think of that one? And then what about the Switch OLED already seeing its first price cut before it came out with some of those pre-orders? And let me know if your pre-order actually saw that price cut from Walmart. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.